Give me some space. Stop contacting me unless I say so, my girlfriend told me. I said, okay. Then she showed up everywhere, calling me controlling. By the weekend, her friends accidentally exposed what she'd been hiding, and her whole narrative collapsed overnight. Hey, Reddit. My girlfriend told me not to reach out unless she contacted me first, so I followed her rule, built my own routine, and moved on. Then she started showing up everywhere, calling me the manipulator. Before we get to that, let me start from the beginning. Before anyone jumps in with the both sides take, just read the whole thing first. I know how it sounds on the surface. It doesn't sound like the full picture until you get to the end. Celia and I were together about 9 months, and the first 4 were genuinely easy, the kind where you wake up and nothing feels heavy. She'd text me ridiculous client screenshots and haunted-looking houses from showings. I'd send her chaos from the clinic, a golden retriever offended by a routine checkup, a cat ruling the supply closet like a king. I'm Nolan, 29. I'm a vet tech at a small animal clinic on the east side. Been there about 3 years. It's not glamorous. Scrubs, nails, kennels, blood panels. But I like it. Animals don't do mind games. Celia's a real estate agent, and she's good at it. We met on a dating app, and our first date was this little Vietnamese spot in a strip mall. She ordered for both of us without asking, something that would usually annoy me, but she nailed it. We stayed for 3 hours, just talking. That night, she mentioned her family. A younger sister, Britt, their mom, Diane, their quiet dad, Frank. Celia was the axis, the one everyone deferred to, whose plans became the plan. She said it like it was normal, and at the time I didn't question it. The first few months stayed smooth. We saw each other 3 or 4 times a week. Around month 3, she started leaving things at my place. A couple months in, she asked to share locations for safety. I agreed. It all felt natural. Then around month 5, things shifted. Replies got slower, hours instead of minutes. Plans became tired or busy, with no alternative offered. I figured work was ramping up, so I backed off. But her social media told a different story. She'd tell me she was crashing on a Thursday night, and then I'd see posts from that same evening, out with friends for hours, laughing like nothing was wrong. First time, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Plans change. Second time, same thing. Third time, I started paying attention. When I brought it up, gently, not accusatory at all, she snapped. Said I was monitoring her like she owed me a report. Said I was being controlling for even noticing. That reaction hit harder than the lying did, honestly, because she made me feel like the problem was me for paying attention, not her for not being straight with me. That should have been my first real warning sign, because the version of Celia from those first 4 months, the one who seemed genuinely excited to be around me, who made me feel like I actually mattered to someone, that version started disappearing so gradually, I didn't notice until she was mostly gone. It wasn't temporary. About 6 weeks before everything went sideways for real, I was getting ready to head out on a Friday evening. Had plans with the boys, Gavin, Leo, and Rory. We'd been trying to lock down a night for weeks. Schedules kept not lining up, and we'd finally nailed down a Friday at Leo's place. Simple night, food, board game, catching up. Nothing crazy. Celia had shown up at my apartment earlier that afternoon unannounced, which was fine. She had a key by that point. She came in, kicked off her shoes, grabbed some leftover chicken from my fridge, and settled onto my couch like she lived there. Feet up on the coffee table, phone plugged into my charger, scrolling through something while she ate cold chicken straight out of the container. I was grabbing my jacket when I mentioned it. Hey, boys' night tonight. Should be back late, don't wait up. She looked up from her phone. That's tonight? Yeah. Been planned for a couple weeks. Can't you just cancel? It's not like it's a huge thing. I stopped and looked at her. She was sitting on my couch, in my apartment, eating my food, and asking me to cancel plans I'd made before she showed up. It is kind of a thing. We haven't all been together in weeks. I'm not canceling. Something shifted in her expression. That look she got when she wasn't getting what she wanted. So your friends are more important than me. That's not what I said. It's what you're showing me. What followed was about 20 minutes that I've gone over in my head more times than I can count. It started with her saying I never made her feel like a priority. Then it moved into how I should be able to read the room without being told. How a boyfriend who actually cared would adjust his schedule when his girlfriend needed him. She laid it all out calm as hell, like she'd already decided how this was gonna go. Then she said the thing. She sat up straight, put the container down, and looked at me with this steady, serious expression, like she'd been waiting to drop this on me. I think the issue is that you don't understand how this needs to work between us. I need to be the one who decides when we spend time together, when we talk. I'll reach out when I want to connect. You don't initiate contact unless I say it's okay. That's what I need. The room was quiet. I could hear the fridge humming. A car going by outside. She kept going, voice even, like she was stating something obvious. Men are supposed to adapt to what their partner needs. That's just how it works. If you can't do that, then we have a real problem here. I stood there, jacket half on, keys in my hand, looked at her for a long time, didn't argue, didn't ask why, didn't tell her that was insane or unfair or controlling. I just let it sit there in the room between us. Arguing wouldn't fix it, so I stopped negotiating with someone who'd already decided. Was it a message? Yeah, I'm not available for this. Okay, I said. That's it? Just okay? Yeah, okay. She looked almost surprised I didn't push back. Then she relaxed, like she'd just closed a deal. Good. I think that's going to make things a lot better for both of us. I nodded, grabbed my keys, walked out the door without another word, and drove to Leo's place. I didn't think about it the whole night. Laughed at Rory's jokes, gave Gavin grief about how long he took making moves in the board game, ate the pizza Leo had ordered. But somewhere under all of that, something had locked into place in my head. She'd just handed me a rule book and acted like it was totally normal, and I decided I was going to follow them. Every single one. To the letter. Sunday morning. Before I did anything else, pulled up the messages and typed one line. Just confirming what you said. You want to be the one to reach out first. I won't initiate unless you say it's okay. Took her about 15 minutes to reply. Yes, don't contact me unless I reach out. There it was. Her rules. Her words. In writing. I screenshotted it, saved it, and moved on. Monday morning, before I even left the apartment, I sat on the edge of my bed and went through my phone like I was doing maintenance. Read receipts off everywhere. Last seen off. Muted Celia completely. No alerts, no banners, nothing. Her messages could still land, but I wouldn't see them unless I checked. Then I stopped. No texts, no calls, no sending her anything. Her rules, her timeline. That same week I changed my locks through the building manager. Quiet, practical. She'd had a key. Now she didn't. The first few days were harder than I expected. Not because I missed her, but because my body was used to reaching. I'd be mid-shift at the clinic and my hand would drift toward my phone. 3 times in 2 days, I almost sent her something before catching myself. By day 4 or 5, the silence stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like relief. Gavin was the first person I told. We've been close since college. He's a bookkeeper downtown. Deadpan, sharp, the type who notices patterns before you do. Over coffee, I laid out the apartment scene and her rules. He listened, turned his cup once, and said, "My sister did this to my parents." Then he explained the whole golden child dynamic, conditional love that shows up when it's convenient, and looked at me like it was simple math. She doesn't want a boyfriend. She wants someone on standby. Leo was next. Physical therapist. Calm, confident. When I told him, he just nodded. Good. Fill that time with something better. So we did. Gym at 6 a.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Gavin texted at 5:15 to make sure I was up. By week 2, I was sleeping better, and that low-level anxiety buzz finally started to fade. Rory was the 4th piece. Sous chef, loud, funny. He dragged me to his restaurant after close, and we ate in the empty dining room talking about anything except Celia. Leo started a group chat that week, just the 4 of us. Dumb messages in the middle of the day, little relief valves. It became the center of my social life without anyone naming it, and I finally signed up for the woodworking class I'd been putting off. Tuesday and Thursday nights at the community center. Walt taught it. Quiet, no nonsense. We started with cutting boards, and 2 weeks later I had one I'd made myself. Rough in places, but solid. Real. Mine. By the end of the 2nd week of going quiet, the routine was set. Gym 3 mornings a week, woodworking twice a week, dinners with the boys. The lighter feeling wasn't something I manufactured. It just showed up. About 2 weeks in, regular Tuesday morning, I was in the middle of getting ready for the clinic when I checked my phone. There were messages from Celia, then more. First one was casual, like nothing had happened. Hey, what's up? I finished getting ready, took my time, drove to work, got there around 8:30, sat down at my desk, and checked my phone properly for the first time that morning. 2 more messages had come in while I was driving. Why aren't you responding? Are you okay? I responded around noon, after lunch, took my full break, walked around the block, came back and ate at my desk. Yeah, I'm good. Just been busy. Her reply came back in under 30 seconds. Busy with what? I looked at that message for a second, felt the pull, the old habit of immediately explaining myself, accounting for every hour, justifying my existence. But that instinct was quieter now, getting quieter every day. Not to punish her, just to break the habit of sprinting every time she snapped her fingers. I put the phone away and got back to work. Over the next few days, the messages kept coming. Different angles, different tones. Sometimes casual, sometimes frustrated, sometimes sad. Why are you acting like this? I thought we were fine. This feels really immature, Nolan. That last one almost made me laugh out loud. The person who told me I wasn't allowed to reach out to her unless she said so was now calling me immature for not reaching out. The irony wasn't exactly hidden. Around day 20, she started calling. We'd barely done phone calls even when things were good. We were texters. Now my phone would ring during shifts, during gym sessions, during woodworking class when I had sawdust in my hair. I let most of them go to voicemail. Listened to them on the drive home. One stuck with me. Started soft, almost sweet. I miss you. I just want to talk. Then it shifted halfway through, her voice getting tighter. You're doing this on purpose and you know it. The flip from one to the other in the same message said more than either part did on its own. It wasn't that she missed me. It was that she missed being able to pull the string and watch me move. Answered one call on a Thursday evening because we'd have to actually talk at some point. She wanted to know where I'd been. I told her I'd been busy, spending time with friends. She pushed back, said I was playing games, that the whole silence thing was manipulative. I reminded her calmly that I was doing exactly what she'd asked me to do. She didn't like hearing that. I told her I needed more time to think about things, about us, about whether this was working for either of us. She didn't like that either. Hung up without another word. After that, the calls started coming at stranger times, past midnight sometimes. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb every night at 10. Woke up to missed calls and voicemails I didn't always listen to. Then the wrong person text arrived. Wednesday afternoon. I was on break, scrolling through my phone, when a message came in from Celia. But it wasn't for me. Not even close. Hey, can you do tonight instead? He won't be around. I read it twice. Then a third time. Stared at it for a full minute. No follow-up. No sorry, wrong person. No explanation. Just the message sitting there. I didn't confront her about it. Didn't ask what it meant. Didn't say a word. I just took a screenshot and forwarded it to Gavin without any commentary. His reply came back in about 10 minutes. One line. Add it to the folder. The folder. It started as a notes app page. Gavin's way of calming his brain down. He'd started keeping a running document about a week before that. A shared document where he logged everything. Timestamps, screenshots, dates of calls, the pattern of how things were escalating. He did it quietly, without making it a dramatic thing. Because that's how Gavin works. He just organizes chaos. That message confirmed something I'd been suspecting for a while. The timeline didn't line up. There were nights she'd told me she was exhausted, couldn't see me, needed to be alone, and now there was hard evidence suggesting she wasn't alone at all. Not with me anyway. My Gmail kicked me out one morning with a password change notification I hadn't triggered. Same thing happened to my Spotify that afternoon. Just locked me out completely. Someone had changed the password. She'd used my laptop before. Saved passwords are a real thing. Gavin flagged it when I mentioned it casually. He walked me through changing everything. New passwords on every account. Two-factor authentication turned on wherever it was available. Every change got logged in the folder alongside everything else. Friday night at Leo's place. About 3 weeks into the silence, maybe a little more. We were in the middle of a board game that had been going on for way too long because Gavin was running calculations before every single move and nobody could stop him. Rory had brought leftovers from the restaurant, some pasta thing that was genuinely absurd, and we were eating off paper plates like the sophisticated adults we clearly were not. I was laughing, real laughing, the kind where your face hurts and you can't stop even when you want to. Hadn't done that in weeks, hadn't even realized how much I'd missed it until it was happening. Around 10 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Leo's place has one of those video doorbell setups. Rory, being closest to the screen, pulled it up on his phone. The four of us looked at it together. Celia, standing there at the door, arms crossed, staring directly into the camera like she knew we were watching. She'd had access to my location history for months when we were together. She knew where I spent time. Leo's place was one of those spots. Nobody moved for a second. Then Rory grabbed his phone and hit the mic. Sorry, no deliveries after 9. Try the neighbors. Celia's expression didn't change. I need to talk to Nolan. Is he there? Rory glanced at me. I shook my head from the couch. Didn't stand up. Didn't move toward the door. Didn't engage with it at all. Rory leaned back into the mic. Nobody here by that name. Have you checked the yellow pages? She stared at the camera for about 5 seconds, then turned and walked away without another word. Rory saved the footage. Nobody asked him to. He just did it. Posted it to the group chat. The next message came from Gavin. Respectfully, no. Then Leo. Logged. Then Rory again. She said don't contact her. We're honoring her healing journey. The concern move came next, and it escalated faster than I expected. Celia texted Paula, a mutual friend from college, saying she was worried about me. that I wasn't returning calls and she was scared something might have happened. Paula came straight to me, texted me directly to check in. I told her I was fine, just taking some time. She said okay and didn't push. But the move itself told me everything I needed to know. Celia wasn't just trying to reach me anymore. She was trying to gather information about what I was doing, who I was with, through other people. 2 days after that, she filed a wellness check. Monday morning, I was lacing up my shoes, about to head to the clinic, when there was a knock at my door. 2 officers, polite, professional, nothing aggressive about it, said they'd gotten a call about a welfare check on my address. Someone had reported they were concerned about my well-being. I told them I was fine, showed them I was literally about to go to work, asked if they could tell me who'd made the call. They couldn't. That's not how it works. Thanked them, closed the door, and stood there for about 30 seconds just breathing. Then I sent a message to my building manager, flagged that 2 officers had come by on a welfare check that morning, that it was a false alarm filed by someone without my knowledge, and asked if I should file a formal report. She said yes. I did. Documented the date, the time, the officers' names, forwarded everything to Gavin. The workplace package came about a week after that. I was in the middle of a shift, post-surgery checkups, busy afternoon, when June, who works the front desk at the clinic, came back and handed me a small gift box with a ribbon on it. Said there was no return name, but there was a card attached. Took it to the break room and opened it alone. A personalized keychain and a 2-page handwritten letter. Half apology, half accusation. The kind of thing designed to make you feel guilty just by reading it. I read it once, photographed both pages, put the keychain back in the box, and emailed my clinic manager a short note. Someone had sent a personal package to the office. It was handled. Just a heads up in case anything else came through. She replied within the hour. I warned the clinic front desk not to give out info or accept anything from her again. No drama at work. That was the priority. The porch gifts started showing up after that. First one was flowers. Small bouquet left outside my apartment door with a note about how she was thinking about me. My building lobby is supposed to be secured, but people tailgate in constantly. I took a photo, brought them inside, tossed them. Told the boys about it that evening. Rory said it was romantic in a slightly unhinged kind of way. Leo said to document it. Second delivery 2 days later. Chocolates with another card. Third one was a stuffed animal, with a note that referenced a specific private conversation we'd had months ago, almost word for word. A throwaway line I barely remembered saying. The fact that she'd held on to it, remembered it exactly, word for word. That detail changed the whole feeling of what was happening. It wasn't affection anymore. It was surveillance. Rory was the first to say it. Okay, that one's not funny anymore. He was right. Leo said to stop acknowledging any of it. Don't respond. Don't engage. Don't signal that I'd received anything. Just photograph everything and keep adding it to the folder. Between that text and the wellness check, I stopped pretending there was anything left to salvage. Before that, it was limbo. That night, I ended it. Sent one message, short and final. This is over. Do not contact me again. Then I went quiet. Nothing else. Just silence and documentation from that point forward. That's when she stopped trying to talk and started trying to force contact. Gavin had the folder looking like a case file by this point. 20-plus documented incidents, time-stamped, organized by date, with context notes on each one. He showed it to me one evening over coffee at a diner near his place. Scrolled through it on his laptop while we sat there. If this ever becomes something you need to take seriously, he said, you've got everything you need. I hoped it wouldn't come to that. It did. The girl squad thing didn't happen all at once. It built up over weeks, like weather changing before a storm hits. Celia had 3 close friends who got deep into everything that followed. Mira was the one who spoke in labels and frameworks. Everything was a power dynamic. Everything needed to be contextualized through some lens. She started posting about narcissistic manipulation within days of the breakup. Didn't name me directly, but anyone who knew us could connect the dots. Phrases about men who use silence as control. About women who deserve better. Jess was the chaos one. She lived for conflict the way some people lived for reality shows. Except she wasn't watching it. She was producing it. She was the one constantly pushing Celia to confront me publicly. Show up at my gym. Come to my workplace. Force a reaction. Kaya was the content machine. Everything became material. Within a week, she was posting vague quotes about healing and recognizing toxic patterns. She pushed Celia to post too. Crying stories, vague accusations, the whole performance. Kaya curated it like she was running a campaign. Together, the 3 of them started coordinating. Not just supporting Celia, actively orchestrating the narrative. Messaging mutual friends with a version of events that made me the villain. Timing posts to hit at the same moment. Mira drafted the captions. Kaya scheduled them. Jess picked targets. One message from Kaya, pulled up later in the leaked chat, laid it out bluntly. Post the crying one Friday evening. More people see it before the weekend. No emotion in it, just logistics. It was less about being her friend and more about running some kind of operation. Some of it landed. A few people I knew casually went quiet. One guy who I'd grabbed food with a couple of times sent me a weird message about checking in that felt more like information gathering than genuine concern. The story was spreading, at least in certain circles. But here's the thing about a smear campaign. It works best when the person on the receiving end reacts, gets defensive, posts something emotional, engages with the narrative and gives it fuel. I didn't do any of that. Posted nothing. Said nothing publicly. Let it run. Around the same time, I started seeing someone casually. Her name's Asha. We'd actually met at the woodworking class. She signed up the week after I did. Ended up at the bench next to mine one Thursday evening. Funny, easy to be around. Had zero interest in anything dramatic. We started grabbing food after class one night, and it just kept happening. Nothing heavy, no labels, just two people who enjoyed each other's company. I told Asha about the whole situation before she heard about it from anyone else. Sat her down, showed her the posts, walked her through the timeline. Her reaction wasn't fear or hesitation. It was more like, that is genuinely insane. Are you handling it okay? I was handling it fine. Better than fine, actually. And having someone in my life who just wanted to hang out and have a good time, the contrast between that and everything with Celia was almost absurd. The fake accounts showed up around week 6 of the campaign. Accounts with no history, no real information. They started commenting on old posts of mine. One of them sent a message directly to Asha. I still don't know how they found her contact, implying I wasn't who I seemed to be. Asha forwarded it to me. The point didn't need words. Leo helped her report it. Account was taken down within a day, but the fact that someone had specifically gone looking for her, that was a new line being crossed, and everyone in the group chat recognized it. After that, I sent one message to Celia. Direct. No emotion, no explanation. Just one line. Do not contact me, my workplace, my friends, or anyone I date again. Sent it once. Then I went back to saying nothing at all. The family thing resurfaced around this time, too. I hadn't thought much about Diane, Celia's mom, in weeks. But Britt texted me out of nowhere one evening. We'd been friendly during the relationship. Not super close, but not strangers. She was the quieter one in the family, the one who got overlooked. Her message was short. Something like, hey, I know things are a mess right now. Just wanted you to know, she's always been like this, with everyone. Dad actually told her to stop contacting you. Mom shut him down. Don't let any of them make you doubt yourself. I read that message 3 times. Britt had watched this exact dynamic play out from the inside her whole life. Had seen Diane defend Celia no matter what. Had been the one in the family whose needs came last when they conflicted with Celia's. And Frank, quiet, step-back Frank, had actually drawn a line somewhere in all of this. Diane had just erased it. Britt was the only person in that family willing to say any of it out loud. I thanked her. We haven't talked much since, but I think about that message more than I probably should. The public event meltdown was the thing that cracked everything wide open. A mutual friend named Dante was having a birthday gathering at a restaurant downtown. Open invite. Casual. Maybe 40 people. I almost skipped it. Leo talked me into going. Said I couldn't let her take every social situation from me too. I went. Brought Gavin and Leo. Spent the first hour having a genuinely good time. Talked to people I hadn't seen in months. Laughed at stories. Ate the food. Normal stuff. Celia showed up around 10:30. I don't know if she knew I'd be there or if it was coincidence. Doesn't matter. What happened next does. She spotted me across the room. I saw her see me. Something in her expression changed. Went from surprise to something tighter. More wound up. She walked toward me. Her girlfriends weren't with her. She'd come alone. The room was loud enough that most people didn't notice at first. But when she got close enough, her voice cut through. We need to talk. Right now. Tonight. You can't keep doing this to me. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't move from where I was standing. Just looked at her. I don't want to do this here, Celia. She didn't care. Started talking louder. About how I was manipulating her. About how I was ignoring her on purpose to make her look crazy. About how everyone could see what I was really doing. The volume kept climbing. People started turning around. Leo appeared at my side like he'd materialized from thin air. Didn't look at Celia. Just looked at me and said, "You good?" "I'm good." Leo nodded once, then turned and walked calmly toward Dante. 2 minutes later, Dante approached Celia politely and let her know this was a private gathering and he'd appreciate it if she could step outside. When she didn't move, Dante asked one of the guys working the door to escort her out. The whole thing took maybe 4 minutes. Celia left without another word, But the expression on her face as she walked out wasn't anger. It was something tighter than that. Something that looked a lot like someone realizing the script had stopped working. Someone in the room recorded the whole exchange. Not me. Not any of my friends. Just someone who was watching and had their phone out. Leo made sure to get a copy. 2 days after the event, Diane texted me directly. I almost didn't open it, but I did. It was short. Said something about how Celia had been going through an incredibly difficult time because of my behavior, and with how hard things had been for her, she felt I owed some kind of compensation. The amount Diane suggested was $3,000. I forwarded the message to Gavin without comment. His reply was immediate. Screenshot that. That's the one. Then, about a week later, Jess made a mistake. She was in a group chat with Mira and Kaya, coordinating the next round of the campaign apparently, deciding who would post what, timing it out, scripting captions. At some point, someone in that chat accidentally added a mutual friend to the thread. That friend saw everything, forwarded the screenshots to me without a word. The screenshots showed the whole operation. Mira suggesting specific language about abuse and control. Jess mapping out confrontation plans. Kaya organizing post timing across platforms. And in the middle of it all, Jess wrote something that stopped me cold. He wasn't supposed to find out about the other guy until after she'd already ended things with him anyway. There it was. Confirmed. In writing. By one of the people running the campaign. Gavin added everything to the folder. Leo read through the screenshots and went quiet for about 5 minutes. Then he said simply, "Now you've got everything you need." For about a week after the group chat screenshots came out, I didn't do anything with them. Not because I was building up to something big. Not because I was waiting for the perfect moment. I just didn't feel the urgency. The documentation was there. The evidence was there. The truth was there. Sitting in a folder, time-stamped and organized. And honestly, I was tired of being part of the story at all. But then Kaya posted again. Another round of healing content. More vague accusations. More coded language about toxic men and women deserving better. It was getting repetitive, but it was still reaching people. Still doing its job. So I posted once. One screenshot. No caption. No commentary. No explanation. It was the text exchange from months back. The one where I'd confirmed her rules and she'd agreed in writing. Her reply, sitting right there, yes. Don't contact me unless I reach out. That was the whole thing. No framing, no spin. Just her own words. Time-stamped and real. I posted it and put my phone in my pocket and drove to the gym. The response didn't need me to be there for it to happen. People started putting the pieces together on their own. The timeline. The contradictions. The fact that the person being publicly called a manipulator for supposedly ignoring someone was actually following that same person's explicit instructions to the letter. You didn't need anyone to spell it out. The receipt did the work all by itself. Some people reached out to me quietly. Not a huge group, but enough. A few of them said variations of the same thing. We get it now. A few others just went silent, which told me everything about where they stood. I didn't chase anyone down about it. Didn't need to. The campaign didn't collapse overnight. Mira posted a couple more times. Kaya tried to frame the screenshot as him weaponizing her vulnerability, which was so disconnected from reality, it almost looped back around to funny. But the energy behind it was gone. The narrative had a crack in it, and once it was there, the whole thing started falling apart on its own. I said nothing else publicly, responded to nothing else, went back to living my life. The next few weeks were the quietest things had been in almost a year. The group chat stayed active. Leo sent memes at weird hours. Rory complained about his kitchen staff. Gavin sent updates about whether the folder was still intact, which it was. But the noise around me had died down. The constant low-level buzz of someone else's drama was finally, genuinely gone. The gym became routine in a way it hadn't before. Not punishment, not trying to fix something broken. Just moving my body, sleeping better, feeling stronger. Gavin and Leo were there most mornings. Asha and I kept seeing each other, casually. No pressure, no labels, no one deciding when the other person was allowed to make contact. We'd text when we felt like it. Make plans when it made sense. It was the easiest thing I'd experienced in a relationship in years. The anxiety didn't disappear all at once. It faded. Took time, but it did. There were mornings when I'd wake up and still feel that old tightness, that whole am I good enough thing. But those mornings got rarer, and then they stopped showing up at all. 3 months passed. I was at a coffee shop on a Saturday morning. Regular spot near my apartment. The kind where the baristas know your order without you having to say it. I was sitting at a corner table, reading something on my phone, half paying attention to the people around me, when the door opened and I looked up. Celia walked in. For a second, neither of us moved. She saw me at the same time I saw her. Her expression went through about 4 things in the space of 2 seconds. Surprise? Something close to embarrassment? Then something harder to read. Something that looked like resolve. She walked over to my table, didn't sit down, just stood there, hands at her sides, looking at me in a way that felt different from how she used to look at me. Less like she was calculating something, more like she was just there. Can we talk? Her voice was quieter than I remembered, steadier, less like she was putting on a show and more like she'd finally run out of things to say. I looked up at her, didn't stand, didn't smile, didn't look away either, just held her gaze and waited. I've been doing a lot of thinking about what happened between us, about how I handled things. Her voice stayed low. I know I wasn't fair to you. I know the way I set things up, the way I needed everything on my terms. I know how that looks now. The coffee shop was quiet around us. Someone at the counter was ordering. The espresso machine hissed. A door closed somewhere in the back. Normal sounds. Normal morning. She paused, shifted her weight. I'm not asking for anything. I just thought, I don't know. I thought maybe if I said it, you'd at least know I understood what I did. I took a breath, looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in months, and I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, none of that. Just nothing. It was clear as day. I didn't care anymore. Like running into an ex and realizing you don't feel anything. You got exactly what you asked for, I said. Calm, even. No edge to it. I hope it was worth it. She held my eyes for a second. Something shifted in her expression. Something I couldn't quite read. She nodded once. Then she turned and walked back toward the door. Paused for half a second with her hand on it. Didn't turn around. Then she pushed it open and stepped out. I sat there for another minute or two, finishing my coffee. The barista wiped down the counter. Someone else walked in and ordered something. Life just kept moving. I left a tip on the table, grabbed my jacket, and walked out into the sunlight. There was woodworking class tonight. Walt was expecting me. I had a new project to start. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.